So, a high refresh rate display, near flagship level performance, and a starting price tag of £499. On paper, the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro seems like the ultimate all-rounder, but is it really that simple? Well, not quite, because while Xiaomi has made some bold moves with this tablet, a few key decisions could make or break your experience. So let's see if the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro is truly the killer tablet it claims to be, or if there's more to the story. And in this review, we also have the Xiaomi Keyboard, the Xiaomi cover and Focus Pen in-house, so we'll be checking these out too and find out what the whole package is like. So starting off, the box itself is pretty plain, all white with very minimal branding or graphics anyway. Pop the lid off here and we have the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro wrapped in this paper sleeve, which has some of the main spec highlights. We have a warranty card and quick start guide and a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, and as usual, no charging brick included in the box. That is a separate purchase. We'll pop the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro out of the sleeve and let's jump into the review and see what we're actually dealing with. So up front of the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro, we have the 11.2-inch LCD display with uniform bezels all around. Up top, we have the volume buttons along with magnetic area for attaching the stylus, which snaps on nice and firmly. And then we have a microphone to the right. To the right, we have two speaker grills and the USB-C port, which is USB 3.2 Gen 1. And around the bottom, there is nothing. To the left, we have two more speaker grills, the power/lock button, which is also a fingerprint reader, and another microphone with some Dolby Atmos branding in the middle there. Around the front, we have the 32 megapixel front-facing camera built into the bezel. And then turning to the back, we can see the blue color in all its glory and the metal unibody design. To the left, we have this minimal Xiaomi branding and 3-pin connectors for the keyboard, but more on that later. And the camera module comprising of a 50 megapixel lens with an LED flashlight and microphone. The tablet does feel nice in the hand, weighing 500 grams and is only 6.1 millimeters thin, so it's a sleek and slim device. But if you're laying it flat on a table, you will get some rocking because of that camera module, mainly to the bottom left of the device. Other specs here would be Wi-Fi 7 and 6 support, Bluetooth 5.4, loads of different sensors built into this thing. And when it comes to things that are missing, those would be no SD card expansion, which is a shame, no cellular connectivity options, at least for the UK version, and there's no headphone jack. So when it comes to the display, the Pad 7 Pro has an 11.2-inch 3.2K LCD display. The PPI comes in at 345, so really sharp. Refresh rate is up to 144 Hz, aspect ratio 3:2, and it supports HDR10 and Dolby Vision. We'll have a quick look at the display settings, and we have the usual light and dark mode. Peak brightness on here is 800 nits, so although not the brightest, it's a reasonable amount of brightness. You can toggle sunlight mode to help with more brighter conditions. For color scheme, we have Original, Color Pro, Vivid, Saturated, and then you have advanced settings, and here you can choose from specific color gamuts from Original, P3, sRGB, and further options such as RGB and HSV color space, so plenty of different options. You can also toggle adaptive colors and adjust the color from this color temperature wheel. We have reading mode, which adjusts the color temperature to a more warm tone. Refresh rate, you can pick from default, which dynamically adjusts, or you can pick from custom and lock it at 60, 90, or up to 144 Hz. And you can also manually adjust which apps use the higher refresh rate. We have AI HDR enhancement, which processes videos using HDR effect to bring more details into the light and dark areas. Font settings, different font options and size adjustments, and then the various lock screen options such as raise to wake, double tap lock screen to sleep, and other options. So when it comes to streaming, for YouTube we have 4K HDR 60 FPS support, and the video playback runs fine. Although you won't be getting the same HDR you would as an OLED panel, content on here does look really nice with realistic colors and really sharp images. The DCI P3 color gamut will obviously provide more vibrant colors if that's what you prefer, and you can obviously choose that from the settings. On Netflix, we get the highest level 1 wide one support along with full HD playback and support for HDR10 and Dolby Vision. So again, Netflix streaming is going to be really good with amazing picture quality. Also have the video toolbox option, which allows you to adjust the style from HDR, nostalgic, black and white, and others. And you can also toggle Dolby Atmos from here and adjust the sound with immersive sound toggle and head movement tracking when using headphones. So nice little feature for when you're actually consuming content. Viewing angles aren't too bad on here, with only a slight dip in brightness, I would say, at more extreme angles. And then there's a slight color temperature shift, but kind of what we expect from an LCD panel. And being outdoors with the tablet, generally the screen is going to be okay. It does get a little washed out, and in direct sunlight things are harder to obviously see. We do have video out via the USB-C port and works as expected, although the only option I could see that was available was to mirror the tablet display, and it works no problem. Output here on my monitor was 1080p 60Hz. That's a handy little feature to always have, and that's display. So we'll have a quick look at the Xiaomi Focus Pen, which retails for £89, but Xiaomi has good deals often. Unboxing this, we have the warranty card and user guide along with a spare tip for the pen. The pen itself is clean, all white with a flat edge along one side and Xiaomi branding up at the top. The pen weighs 15 grams, so quite light, and has 240Hz touch sampling rate and charges when connecting to the tablet. So we have the 3 function buttons on the pen for different uses, which we'll be checking out soon. And if we jump into the settings, we can toggle scribe, which lets you write in any text field. You can toggle to write with the screen off and also update the pen's firmware. And then we have the write button, which you can hold and will allow you to quickly jump into taking notes. Screenshot, which lets you take a screenshot of the current screen and you can adjust as you please. And then using the pen itself, latency on here wasn't too bad, I would say, as we can see here on the slow down footage. But one thing I do miss is having haptic feedback on a pen, as I experienced on the Lenovo stylus. That was a game changer for me. Palm rejection works fine as I rest my palm here on the screen to write. And pressure sensitivity, which is compatible within certain apps and certain pens, works fine as pressing harder draws the line thicker. I don't know if it has tilt detection, but for me it seems like if I was tilting the pen, it was doing a different type of stroke compared to how it was when I'm holding it straight down. And then you can use the buttons to cycle through different pens and also pre-selected colors, so that's a handy little feature. But all in all, the pen I say is nice, it's decent, it's not the best, but it gets the job done, at least for more simple things and maybe getting into a little bit more intricate things, but there are obviously a lot more accurate and higher end pens out there. When it comes to speakers, we have a quad speaker setup on the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro with Dolby Atmos support. In the settings, we can pick from Dolby Atmos or Xiaomi Sound. You can also pick from different presets for graphic equalizer and also adjust as you please. And you also have a toggle for immersive sound and headphone controls. We'll have a listen to the speakers and keep in mind the upcoming volume may be quite high.
Those pizza places that claim to have the best pizza in the world. What do you think, they have pizza contests? Have you ever been to a pizza
Hit show where it pits a man versus a car. On tonight's episode.
So in conclusion, the speakers on here deliver good audio quality, I have to say. The 4 speakers easily get loud enough for personal viewing and you can fill a small room without distortion. Bass response isn't the best, there is a little bit of depth but nothing crazy. But in summary, the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro's quad speaker system offers, clear, robust and immersive audio from my experience. We'll have a quick look at the keyboard, which retails for £119, and the Focus keyboard, which also has a trackpad, retails for £179, comes with a warranty card and user guide. And the keyboard itself is a fairly simple one with no function keys, and it has a 1.3mm key travel, nicely laid out keys here. We have the 3 pin connectors, and it's as simple as literally popping the tablet on top and it kind of aligns magnetically and snaps in place. The kickstand on only one position at 120 degrees, so that's a bit of a limitation there. And it does support smart wake and sleep. And when flipping the keyboard around to the back, it does disable the keys, so that's another good feature to see. Quickly in the settings, things are pretty simple here with toggles for different shortcuts, and then you have cursor adjustments, obviously if you have the Focus keyboard. And I have to say, typing on here was actually quite nice. It's not laptop nice, but still for a compact keyboard, I found it easy to touch type, and the key travel does feel decent. So for more longer typing sessions, I guess you won't have any problems, but from my experience, it was absolutely fine. Obviously a little bit cramped, but that's what's going to be the case on a small keyboard. Under the hood of the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro is the Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 chipset, and that's paired with an Adreno GPU and Qualcomm's AI engine. The tablet offers two configurations: 8GB of LPDDR5X RAM with 250GB of UFS 4.0 storage and 12GB RAM with 512GB storage. The 128GB storage variant utilizes UFS 3.1 and it's running on Android 15 with Xiaomi HyperOS 2.0. Security patches are up till 2028, but there is no information that I could find on OS upgrades, and Xiaomi's track record with OS upgrades is always a bit shady and sketchy, so just keep in mind when it comes to OS updates, that's just something that's going to be a little bit jittery. So when it comes to benchmarks, we get a score of 1,500,000 on Antutu, so obviously not top of the range but still a really high score and plenty of power here. Geekbench 6 we get 1,939 on single core and 5,093 on multi-core, so again higher than average numbers here. Storage test score was reasonable too, with decent read and write speeds up to 1.3GB on random read and 1GB on random write, so obviously not the absolute fastest but reasonable. And when connecting external storages, it does depend on the storage specs and cable you use, with mine here limited at 3.0, so when I tried to play 4K footage there was some notable lag in playback. And copying a file over to the tablet storage wasn't exactly painstakingly slow, but it wasn't blazing fast. But I'm sure a hard drive and cable with USB 3.2 Gen 1 support, it would have been a lot faster. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to test Wildlife Extreme as my usual test, as 3D Mark was unable to connect to the servers, but we'll be checking all that out in the gaming section soon, so we'll see how it performs there. In the settings of the tablet, we have features for tablets, which includes things such as active visual perception, allowing the screen to lock itself when you leave and wake up when you return. Workstation simplifies the interface and presents apps as floating windows, and you can move them around, minimize them and adjust the size just as you please, so a little productivity feature here that's useful. And I could get 4 to 5 apps running and you can obviously kind of hide them to the side. We have your usual security status info and then Xiaomi interconnectivity, which lets you connect to nearby compatible devices and various data transfer functions, and then the usual connectivity options such as portable hotspot, VPN, private DNS, Xiaomi Share, Cast and wireless display extension, amongst others. Then we have Google Gemini baked in, which is activated by pressing the power button for a few seconds. Works no problem. In this example, I'll ask it to open Chrome. And then other AI features built into the Pad 7 Pro are listed here, from AI Write, AI Art, Gallery Editor and Interpreter, to name a few. We'll check out AI Write quickly, and you have to log into your Xiaomi account in order to use these features. I have this short piece of text here when I was testing the keyboard, and we're just gonna hit the AI button and we're presented with this menu with different options like summary, proofreading, extension and then tone changes. We'll have a look at extension. Give it a while to generate, and that is one hell of an extension it's done. That's turned it into a whole report near enough. I guess it's handy if you want to expand pieces of text. Me Canvas will check out AI Art. So here's my absolutely amazing picture of a calf, and if you just circle it and let it do its magic, we have different options here while it's loading, such as the style, description and references, and after a while it does generate different variations of what you initially drew. I'm actually surprised it worked out that was a calf. And when it comes to the rest of the settings, we have notification and status bar stuff, generic things there. You can adjust different things on the home screen, obviously your usual sound settings. Personalization has loads of different options with like wallpapers and themes. When it comes to security, we have screen lock, fingerprint unlock, face unlock, and then you can also unlock with compatible Bluetooth devices. And then looking at the user interface, control center along with the notification center on the left side, nice and clean as normal from Xiaomi. And we'll check out some app load times, and I'll clear out all the apps currently open, and you'll find performance here is absolutely fine. The apps load quick enough, and that's the case across all of these different apps I am opening. It's nice and snappy. The 8S Gen 3 is more than capable of handling, your daily tasks and things like that. So it's a good chipset, that's been proven over the years. We'll test out RAM management. I'm going to open a heavy app like Call of Duty Warzone, and I'm going to see if that previously opened apps are still running. And yep, it looks like they are, so RAM managed well, I guess. And a quick look at editing and exporting the video on here. I've got this 5 minutes 4K 30 FPS footage loaded in CapCut here. And we can see when scrubbing, it seems to be handling it fine with maybe the slightest bit of lag, but generally it's all good. I've got this test piece of text here, and we're going to be exporting this at 4K 30 FPS recommended bitrate. And that took a total of 2 minutes and 28 seconds, so not bad. Obviously not the fastest out there, but still a reasonable time. Right, we'll jump into gaming and see how the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro handles different games. First thing I'll do is connect my controller here, and I'll bring the brightness down a little bit. And we're starting off with battery of 68%, and the temperature is nice and cool at 25 degrees. The first game, Call of Duty Warzone as usual, and having a look in the graphics settings, the visual quality tops out at medium. So I've set the FPS target to uncapped and everything else to high, so we'll see how it handles that. The first thing I noticed is the visual quality obviously at medium is not the best, especially if you played at peak. We can see the FPS is hitting the 110s and 120s range, but I noticed straight away, you can see here the game started freezing, but I don't know if that's a connection problem. But all in all, the game was running fine. I mean, I don't know, it didn't feel like it was 120 FPS to me for some reason, but that's what FPS meter was saying. But runs nice and smooth, no problem. And then 10 minutes in and the frame rate is still kind of in those 110s, so doing reasonable there. And we can see the temperature has now increased quite a bit to 42 degrees, and the tablet does feel quite warm in certain areas. And then 18 minutes in, currently playing a Warzone game, and we can see the FPS is still doing okay, but is a bit more sporadic with some larger dips, and the temperature is still really warm, sitting at 43 degrees. And so after roughly 20 minutes of Call of Duty Warzone, we are down to 57% battery, so we lost 11% there. Next we'll check out Wuthering Waves, and I'll set everything to the highest possible in the graphics settings and set the frame rate to target 60 FPS. And here the FPS monitor is stating that we're hitting around 109 to 115 range, which is a bit odd considering the game is capped at 60 FPS. So I don't know if that's some error in the FPS monitor or there's something else going on here with frames being inserted into the game. I don't know. Regardless, the gameplay is nice and smooth and the visuals look really good, obviously at high visual quality. And then half an hour in of total gameplay, we can see the temperature is still quite high at 44 degrees. Frame rate is still around the 110s, but it is fluctuating quite a bit. And after that little session, the battery is now down to 47%, so we lost 10% battery there. Next, we'll jump into Call of Duty Mobile, and here we have very high visual quality, which caps the frame rate to max, and I believe that's 60 FPS. And I'll turn on all these other little options to really squeeze it here, and I'm going to enable super resolution too. And on these settings, the game does look really good visually. The graphics are amazing, and we can see the FPS is hitting that 60 FPS no problem, occasionally even jumping past it. Next, we'll switch to ultra frame rate, which defaults the graphic quality to medium, and I'll set the frame rate adjustment to target 120 FPS, and it has no problem hitting 120 FPS, and the gameplay is super smooth, and this time it actually feels like 120 FPS to me. It is fluctuating a little with dips here and there, and the graphic quality isn't as good as it was before, but if you want to play at 120 FPS, then you'll have no problem. And then with those same settings and 48 minutes into total gameplay now, and we're in a battle royale game, we can see the FPS is capping out at 90, hitting without a problem. I mean, it would be nice to see 120 FPS on here, but I guess that hasn't happened yet. But again, nice and smooth gameplay. Temperature is now at 39 degrees, so it has come down a little bit, and the battery is now at 40%, so total loss of 27% in a roughly hour session of gaming. At the highest settings, reasonable I guess. I've seen better and I've seen worse, but all in all, gaming on here is going to be a joy for those who use the tablet for that. So the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro comes with an 8850 mAh battery, which is capable of 67 watt charging, what Xiaomi refers to as hypercharge. And a 0 to 100% charge should take you roughly an hour and 20 minutes. And the tablet supports various charging standards, which you can see at the bottom of the screen. In the settings, we have our usual kind of stuff here with a remaining time meter at the top. You have different modes from balance and battery saver. And then battery checkup will give you an idea of apps that are consuming battery higher than others. For battery protection, we have battery health information, the temperature and the number of charges. And then you have charging protection, which limits the charge to 80%. So good to see that feature there. And then additional features like clearing the cache when the device is locked, or you can schedule a power on and off. And then obviously your chart here. For me, I think the battery life was okay. Heavy use, obviously you're only going to get about 4 or 5 hours of on-screen time, and more light use, I would say say you would get maybe at least 2 days out of it, but it's not the biggest battery. Other manufacturers are squeezing in, 10,000 and plus milliamp hour batteries. So at 8,000, Xiaomi could have added a bigger battery on here, and it would have been nice to see that. But I guess battery performance in conclusion is, I would say, average. But when it comes to optics, the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro has a 50 megapixel rear camera and a 32 megapixel front facing camera. In the camera app, we have document, video, photo, portrait and more, which includes night, 50 megapixel, dual video and director mode. For video, we have options of 720p, 1080p and 4K with either 30 or 60 FPS, and you can also use a teleprompter, which is a handy little feature. In the camera settings, we have lots of options here, from smart suggestions, auto night mode, image stabilization, auto frame rate, H.264 and 265 options, along with shutter sounds, anti-banding, and then you can also check for updates. Photo mode has an AI mode and a shutter type along with watermark options, and then portrait mode has HD portrait along with generic settings, and you can adjust the f-stop. We'll have a quick look at some captures I've taken with these cameras. Just recording some 4K 30 FPS footage. Just walking down the road, seems to be some good stabilization. It's quite windy as well. 6x zoom. Back to 1x. Front facing camera. So in conclusion, the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro presents a strong proposition with its high refresh rate display, solid performance and competitive pricing around £499. However, it's essential to weigh its advantages against certain limitations. So pros, I would say the display, 3.2K 144Hz display offers smooth and sharp visuals, enhancing both productivity and entertainment experiences. The performance, powered by the Snapdragon 8s Gen 3 and up to 12GB of RAM, tablet handles multitasking and demanding applications efficiently. You have ample space for apps, media and documents. But I would say when it comes to cons, although the display on here is really nice, it is an LCD display, and competitors like Honor have been able to offer a OLED display on the Magic Pad 2 for basically the same price, which provides a lot deeper blacks and more vibrant colors. But I guess some people just prefer LCD, and that could be a personal choice. The battery capacity was a con for me as well. The 8850 milliamp hour battery is decent, but it falls short compared to some rivals. Again, on a Magic Pad 2 has a 10,050 milliamp hour battery, which might offer extended usage. Absence of a micro SD card slot limits the storage flexibility, which could be a drawback for users if you need additional space. And then obviously the omission of the headphone jack, but I guess everyone's doing that nowadays. That's limiting you to only wireless solutions, or you need an adapter or USB-C headphones. The UK version lacks any cellular connectivity options, so you're restricting on-the-go internet access without any Wi-Fi. And for me, I have to say the Honor Magic Pad 2 is a notable option. It features a 12.3-inch OLED display, Snapdragon 8s Gen 3 processor and up to 1TB of storage, and has a larger 10,050 mAh battery, offering a more compelling mix of features for its price. Ultimately, the choice between the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro and its competitors will depend on the person's individual preferences and their priorities, such as display quality, battery life and connectivity options. So ultimately that decision comes down to you. That's my review of the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro. Thank you for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.